Good afternoon and welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining Rethinking Marketing in 2021 to learn new strategies based on leading industry research and business case studies. My name is Esther Elkos, and I'm the chair of Career Development and Networking Programs at the American Marketing Association, New York. First of all, we would like to thank our event partner, Effectv, who helps local, regional, and national advertisers grow their business with multi-screen marketing solutions that combine the targeting and measurement of digital with the reach and impact of TV. We would also like to extend our appreciation to our premier partner, Greenbook, a leading voice in the market research and consumer insight space. AMA New York thrives in the center of the world's most influential business city, raising the profile of marketing, providing professional development and networking opportunities, and serving as a resource of marketing industry events and news. At AMA New York, we work every day to inspire, support, and celebrate brilliance in marketing. As a member, you have access to the most relevant and compelling knowledge base of data, tools, and people. For those of you who are not members yet, I invite you to join this dynamic organization to access essential resources in our library of how-to, benchmarking data, interactive tools, and best practices. Expand your network and knowledge through a full schedule of events around marketing skills, career readiness, and emerging trends. Network among your peers and connect with leaders who help shape the future of marketing. And elevate your leadership by volunteering, providing expertise, and mentoring. We have plenty of events this month. Actually, every single week, you'll be able to join one of our events. So make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to stay tuned. Some of our upcoming events, starting on March 4th, we have an expert-led panel discussion to learn more about the importance of marketing to drive growth for startups, followed by a networking session with the panelists. On March 11th, tune in and learn how Jordana navigates localization for Rover, ensuring the content is on brand and culturally relevant to their end users. And on March 18th, Leah Holzman, head of global marketing for Amazon Pay, will share her story at our ongoing Women in Marketing series. And if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. I would like to encourage you to use the chat to introduce yourselves, interact with other attendees, and of course, ask any questions. Just as a reminder, we'll leave about 15 minutes at the end of the session for Q&A with Lisa. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Lisa Ahern, who leads the product marketing team at Effectv, the advertising sales division of Comcast Cable. Her job is to bring new data-driven products and solutions to market that drive a greater customer experience for advertisers and to elevate the Effectv organization of over 3,000 people about what the product do and why it matters. Prior to joining Comcast, Lisa held marketing leadership roles with various organizations, including AOL, the EXO Group, and the Elite Traveler Media Group. In addition to marketing responsibilities, she's also been a sales account executive and a media planner and the character at the Euro Disney theme park. Lisa lives in Manhattan with her family. Lisa, please take it away.
Esther, thank you so much. And thanks everyone. I'm so excited to be with you today. Let me share my screen and we'll kick everything off. All right, let's put it into presentation mode. Excellent. Hi, everybody. Again, I'm so happy to be with you today. As Esther mentioned, I'm Lisa Ahern. I'm the head of product marketing for Effectv. For those of you who know us, it's so great to see you. And for those of you who may not be familiar with us, I'll give you a quick overview. Effectv combines the best of digital with the power of TV. We were previously known as Comcast Spotlight prior to our brand relaunch just over a year ago. We deliver traditional television and premium digital video advertising to reach audiences through high quality, brand safe content at any time on any device. We seamlessly pull together a fragmented media landscape to help our advertisers reach audiences and achieve their unique marketing and advertising goals. To put it simply, we find every advertiser's audience on multiple screens. We target them through content, geography, and addressability. We report on what happened, and we prove that the campaign had an impact on their business. Effectv operates in 66 markets across the US. We represent over 1.2 million TV households and 700,000 broadband households in the New York DMA. We work with clients of all sizes, from family-owned shops to industry conglomerates, from independent agencies to the largest holdcos. Our account executives are dedicated to helping every client succeed, tapping into the knowledge from internal business partners across data innovations, advanced advertising, thought leadership, creative services, and of course, our own marketing team. So we're here today spending some time together as part of this amazing AMA New York organization. But let's take a minute to acknowledge the reality of how we're gathering today. Out of all the memes I've seen on social media lately, this one is my favorite. I was told 2021 would be different. We've been living in unprecedented times for nearly a year, and we've all had to adjust our lives in so many ways, so many times. For me, I live here in New York City, and for over 25 years, I've taken the subway to work. I'm sure many of you do the same, whether it's taking the subway, LIRR, Metro North, New Jersey Transit, and as I'm sure you can relate, most commutes were fine, some were downright horrible, but they've been a constant for as long as I've been here in Manhattan. Since COVID hit, I've really gotten used to my new commute from my bedroom to my living room, but who would have ever thought that I'd actually miss my morning subway ride? I'm sure a lot of you have worked in marketing for many years as I have. And I'm sure some of you have tried and true marketing strategies that never, or at least rarely, fail. But just about a year ago, even our most experienced industry leaders needed to step back, rethink strategies, and even reset some goals. So whether you lead an in-house marketing team responsible for driving ticket sales to a partially empty arena, or you run marketing for a commercial real estate firm that isn't quite certain of what the future office may look like, or you own a marketing agency with clients made up of small businesses struggling to stay afloat, every industry counts on us to help them weather the storm so that they can come out stronger on the other side. Now, that's a really huge responsibility, and there has been no playbook. But marketers are smart, resilient, and innovative. So we've used these traits to go back to the basics, just reframing them in a new lens. So 2 areas of focus for all of us this past year have been about new ways for us to learn and connect. So what do we want to learn? Who do we want to connect with? And how do we do it? Let's start by taking a look at what our industry leaders care most about. Comcast Advertising, which is comprised of Effectv and our sister ad tech company Freewheel, engaged Media Village and the Myers Report to conduct a survey of 700 advertisers and agency execs on their perception of 72 sales organizations. The survey took place over 6 weeks between February and March 2020. Yes, this was pre-COVID, but I'd argue that their answers would be the same even if the survey had taken place a few weeks later. At the start of the survey, the participants were asked to rate the importance of a list of 13 different attributes. Their top 3 all had responses in the 80% range. At the top was relevancy. This was in reference specifically to audience reach. They're looking for media partners who can deliver audiences that are valuable to their or their clients' needs. Second on the list was trusted partnerships. They found it crucial that partners consistently and reliably deliver on promises. And third down was brand safety. They needed to deliver their marketing message in content and on properties that are trusted by them and their clients. Some other top priorities were cost efficiency, a responsive sales organization, and advanced data and analytics capabilities. So as leading marketers yourselves, I'm sure you can relate to all of these attributes and why they rank so highly, as I imagine they're also important to you. So let's think about some new ways to learn and connect through the lens of what's most important to marketers and agencies today. Now, let me preface all of this by saying none of this is rocket science, and we're all coming at this from different angles. But hopefully you might think about something differently or try something new. So let's start thinking about new ways to learn. As we all know, our entire business is focused on customers. Keep in mind, our customers may be different from one another. Some of us are B2B marketers, helping other businesses find and engage with their customers. Others are B2C marketers with the goal to link directly to their audience and motivate them to buy their products and use their services. And many of you are with agencies with clients whose customers run the gamut across every category. Now, regardless of context, we've needed to learn about our customers' needs in these new unusual circumstances. How is COVID affecting them today? Did they have to change their business model? Did they lay off or furlough employees? Was their supply chain broken? How do they keep track with changes happening from moment to moment? For many customers, they're fighting two battles, one for short-term survival and another for long-term success. So how do we as marketers adapt and respond to their needs? Put yourself in their shoes and ask, what would I want to happen? So here's an example of how a small business in my neighborhood adapted in the first few months of the pandemic. My family lives in Upper Manhattan, where there are actually more parks, rivers, and bird watchers than there are stores, restaurants, and tourists. We don't have a car, and we are not comfortable taking public transportation, so we're staying extremely local. One of the few restaurants nearby is the Indian Road Cafe, which is right next to Inwood Hill Park. When the weather warmed up last spring, people were so sick of being cooped up in their apartments. I'm sure so many of you can relate. And everyone wanted to go outside and eat out. So this cafe created a special picnic in the park for weekend days with a prefix menu that could be ordered in advance, paid for with touchless credit cards, and picked up at the door so that people could enjoy them in the park across from the restaurant. They opened up all of their sidewalk windows and had a musician play at a safe social distance. So as I said before, this isn't rocket science, but this small business did more than just what they needed to do in order to survive. They could have stuck to their standard takeout menu, but instead, they chose to brand an opportunity that spoke to their customers' new needs. Since then, they've kept this on the menu, adding a new revenue stream to their already successful business model. So what are some other new ways to learn? Well, we all need to keep tabs on what's happening in our industry. Today, more than ever, data and technology sit at the center of what we do as marketers. We have more choices in how we use it to make better decisions on how we spend our precious marketing dollars. Sometimes the amount of data and the pace of technology can really be overwhelming. And if there's anything I've learned from Effective's brilliant data analytics team, it's that numbers alone can't tell a story. We need people who can truly understand data to show us how to use it and how to benefit from it most effectively. We also really want to be careful not to become victims of the new shiny object syndrome. It's easy to do, I know. A media account executive tells you about their latest and greatest product, dropping fancy words that you think you know what they mean, but maybe not really understand all that well. And all of a sudden you throw your media plan out the window and go all in on, choose your favorite, addressable, programmatic, OTT, CTV, TVE. Now keep in mind, I'm sharing this with you and I run product marketing for Effectv. I believe deeply in new technology and the use of data to create more meaningful campaigns, delivering audiences to advertisers and proving the impact on their business. But not every product is right for every marketer at every time. You've got to get the mix right and create a solution for these products to work their best. So I encourage you to do your own research, hire some great data scientists, and test and learn about these new products before going all in. So I'd love to hear from this group what advanced advertising concepts are most interesting for you. Esther, I believe we have a poll set up for this. Do you want to kick it off?
Yes. Everyone should have the poll there, and let me know, Lisa.
I'm going to fill it out for me too, although hopefully you didn't see my answer. You're not cheating.
I can't see it yet. In the meantime, Lisa, can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on cord cutting? Are you concerned about it?
You know, that's such a great question. People think, well, because we're a cable company, that cord cutting is killing our business. And first and foremost, what I do want to say is that cord cutting is absolutely happening. But we also know that people are spending about 6 hours on average watching video content, and 5 hours of that is still taking place on live TV. So even though people are talking about cord cutting, they're still watching live linear 80% of the time. Now, for that cord cutting element, we don't want to cut them out of the picture. They're really, really important. And the great news is that at Effectv, we can just as effectively deliver to cord cutters as well as to cord nevers, cord, my family happens to be a cord stacker where we've got premium cable, as well as Netflix and Amazon Prime and Roku and Apple TV Plus, and of course, Peacock. So our ability to deliver a campaign and deliver an advertiser's message across all screens and devices is something that we're highly encouraging. So for us, cord cutting is a reality, But I think for advertisers, it's really important to acknowledge that if you leave out the linear TV portion of any buy, you're still missing out on the bulk of most TV viewers. So the solution is to run across both, and you'll maximize your reach against your audience. Great question. Thank you. How are we doing on our poll? So another important area of us to focus on is paying close attention to what's happening in the geographic areas that affect our business. As we see every day, the rules for business operations are constantly changing based on COVID levels around the country. And unfortunately, we need to expect that to continue for the near future. While COVID numbers have been dropping quickly, the new variants might change that trend. So now for marketers who have locations or franchises across the New York DMA or across several regions or even across the country, you have a great opportunity to lean into local and regional advertising to promote specific locations that are open for business. And most importantly, we've all needed to learn what we need to do to keep our business successful. And that ties directly back to the customer experience that I mentioned at the beginning of our talk. How do you provide that customer experience when in some cases, customers can't buy your product or use your service? Even if your customer relationship has temporarily changed, you can still be a source of knowledge and support for them. If you're in the medical profession, make sure your patients know when a virtual visit makes sense or if it's safe for them to come into the office. If you're in the entertainment industry, have your star players and celebs post videos on social channels. If you're an agency, show your clients the value that you bring by working with media partners that provide transparent reporting and, where possible, attribution metrics. And above all, show kindness. We often have no idea who's been affected by the upheaval we've all undergone this year in so many ways. And a kind, caring, genuine person will always be remembered in the best light. So how do we tie these new ways of learning back to the three most important attributes to marketers? We can tie back to relevancy by truly understanding your customers or your clients' customers so that you can test out new ways to reach your target audience and provide them with information about business that is relevant to them today. We can tie back to trust by proving that you're a trusted business or partner by listening, learning, and acting in your customer's best interest. And agencies in particular can tie back to brand safety by showing your clients that you'll protect their brand's integrity by delivering their message to their target audience in premium content and across brand safe media platforms. Let's take a minute to look at how Effectv approached the new way to learn. When COVID hit last March, as you all know, professional and college sports were among the first industries to shut down. Thousands of Effectv advertisers were counting on those live sporting events to deliver their message to highly engaged sports fans. So what did we do? Of course, our first step was to reach out to our customers. We wanted first and foremost to check in and make sure that our contacts were safe and healthy. Once we had accomplished this, we went to work. As I mentioned earlier, it's important not just to have great data, but to have people who can interpret that data and put it to smart use. Our team of data scientists had already done a tremendous amount of work analyzing Comcast viewership data from 20 million plus set-top boxes, identifying insights and viewing trends. They were able to tell a really powerful story. The average Comcast household watches 17 networks per month. And guess what? Our researchers saw that people who watched a lot of sports also watched a lot of non-sports TV too. They learned what other networks were popular among sports fans, and not just nationally, but down to the local level. The data team had also recently produced some very relevant research that showed the importance of brands continuing to advertise even during a downtime. So our account executives shared this knowledge with their clients, then built new data-driven schedules that delivered advertisers' messages to sports fans while they were watching other shows when sports went dark.
Lisa, we have the results. Would you mind to share them?
Sure, perfect.
Hi, Esther, you want me to share?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, hi, Lisa. So we've got three very close ones and one less so. OTT and streaming won with 33% of the vote, followed closely by addressable advertising with 28%, as well as cross-screen campaign delivery and reporting, also at 28%. And then bringing up the rear was attribution with 11%. And a good majority of the folks on this call voted. So it's pretty reflective of people here.
Awesome. And Karen, it's great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a while.
Yeah, likewise.
So I think these results are really interesting, and let's just unpack it for a minute. OTT and streaming, as we just talked about, is a really, really important subset. And I think that as an industry, we need to understand the value of that audience, the way to deliver and reach that audience. Also thinking about things like what's happening now that there's the removal of third-party cookies. Where are these media companies who are delivering messages through OTT and through streaming mechanisms? Where are they using data to identify the audience? Where does fraud come in? That's where anyone who's going to be running an OTT campaign should look really, really carefully at your business partner and your media choices when you do that. In terms of addressable, I love that's where you're thinking, because addressable is absolutely the future of where TV is going. But what's really important to remember is that addressable is one area of being able to tap into the lower funnel of the stages of the marketing funnel. And if you think about what TV's original value prop is, it's really all about that broad reach and that broad awareness. And what you don't want to do is just go all in on an addressable campaign with TV, because quite honestly, you're not going to get the results you expect. If you want a strictly lower funnel tactic, stick with social, stick with another medium. Do not use TV for that. Where TV works best is when it's creating that full funnel solution that can certainly incorporate that addressable component, where we can target your message to households and devices that have been identified as part of the audience segment that you want to reach. But it only works when that's added on as a tactic to a higher funnel component, whether that's a data-driven linear or multi-screen campaign, whether that's high value programming that achieves that broad reach. So that's why, in my mind, I chose the cross-screen, the multi-screen platforms, because again, it's really all about how you put the OTT and streaming and the addressable to work together to get the best business outcomes. So I hope that helps. I think attribution is also really important, and the methodologies and the techniques that we're working with some really, really smart data vendors on to be able to trace back attribution to TV is really improving, and it's getting pretty strong. You know, you can't click on a TV ad to take you to a website. So a lot of social media companies will claim a last click attribution, but what's getting them to drive you to that website to begin with? Did you see their TV commercial? Did you see it a half an hour ago? Did you see it 3 weeks ago? That's the sort of data we're leaning into. I think that was a really great poll, and thank you so much for sharing the data. Thank you all for sharing your information, and we can certainly talk more about that in the Q&A. So let's continue in terms of where we are in our presentation. So in order to add even greater value when COVID hit, our creative agency, Mnemonic, quickly offered up their services to modify advertisers' TV spots so that they were relevant to their customers. Now, this in my mind was a real game changer, because creative was such an important factor in making sure that clients could continue to promote their businesses and services in this quickly changing world. And most importantly, our sellers and business partners went out of their way to show our customers that we cared about them as people, as well as about their business. This superior customer service will resonate with our clients for years to come. So now let's spend a few minutes exploring the new ways to connect. For many of us, as still our in-person interactions are still very limited. And over the past few months, of course, we've all come to embrace the video call. While it's definitely not the same as a face-to-face meeting, there actually are some benefits of these virtual connections. First of all, when we're on screen, it's hard not to be fully present. Giving your customers your full attention is so important. We should always make our customers feel that they are the only thing that matters at that moment. So with the exception of a friendly family member or a pet dropping into the screen for a quick hello, put away your mobile phone, hide your email box, and try really hard to look into the camera so you can give your best shot at making eye contact. You can also check in with customers virtually by phone, text, or social media for reasons other than to ask for more business. Did you come across an article about a random topic that you discussed at a lunch a few months ago? Send them the link. Did their daughter start college last fall like mine did? Check in to see how everyone's doing and whether she's on campus yet. Mine's still remote. Here's another great opportunity, connecting virtually with groups. And of course, that is what we're doing right now. And I'm so happy to be doing this with you. It's a great time to become a thought leader and start a blog, host a webinar for your customers, or share a video of how your business is responding to customer needs on your social feed. Now, keep in mind, social media can be a great way to promote your business, but there are also some risks involved with social posting. It could potentially affect your brand safety, invite unwelcome commenters, or cause unintended controversy. Now, I'm sure that many of you have always relied on in-person client events as a crucial part of your marketing strategy. Since there are still so many restrictions these days about in-person gatherings, we all got thrown for a loop last year when we had to cancel in-person events. But like many of you, I'm sure, at Effectv, we still wanted to find a way to connect with our clients. So many of them were small business owners dealing with their own difficulties of the new COVID reality, and we wanted to bring them some joy. So our events team came up with a really fun idea. They created a series of virtual video chats for small groups of clients to meet and greet with one of the Real Housewives. If it's possible to call any virtual setting intimate, our team created it by only inviting a handful of people to each event so that every client had the chance to interact with the celebrity guest. The response was overwhelming. Our clients loved the experience, and once again, it showed how Effectv focused on putting our customers first. So here's one thing to always keep in mind, and this is for COVID, for non-COVID, just in general. Every interaction counts. So I'd love to share a story with you that I think illustrates this beautifully. My first job out of college wasn't in marketing. In fact, I majored in French literature and never even took a marketing, advertising, communications, or business course in my 4 years of college. My first job was selling souvenirs in a gift shop on Main Street, USA, in the recently opened Euro Disney theme park outside of Paris. One day during my first few weeks on the job, the president of Euro Disney was touring the park and came to my souvenir shop. His name was Steve Burke. When Steve walked into the store, I greeted him with a smile and a bonjour. He smiled back and asked if I was American. When I said that I was and asked how he knew, really hoping it hadn't been my accent that had given me away, he said, "You're the only person in the park who smiled all day." I never forgot that moment of connection. Fast forward 25 years and I landed my dream job at Comcast, and Steve Burke was the head of NBCU. I immediately remembered Steve from our brief encounter over a stack of Euro Disney keychains, but I didn't do anything until late 2019 when news outlets reported that Steve would be retiring soon. At that point, I didn't wait any longer. His email address was right in the Comcast directory, so I wrote him a note sharing this story and letting him know that 25 years later, I was happy to be working with him once again and still smiling. Less than 5 minutes later, I got his reply. It was short and sweet. "This is one of the best emails I've received in a long time." And the connection was forged once again. So now that we've spent some time thinking about what we want to learn and how we want to connect, let's look at the bigger picture of how Effectv is putting these ideas into action. Our organization is focused on 3 core pillars: building and maintaining trust, using data for smarter targeting, and enabling efficiency. So how do we build and maintain trust? Effectv and one of our leading measurement vendors, Media Science, recently conducted a research study about the halo effect of advertising. The research confirms that TV is seen as a legitimizer for new brands, where they're treated with skepticism in digital channels. As you can see here, when TV is added to a digital campaign, both known and unknown brands see tremendous lift, but unknown brands see even greater results. And of course, brand safe content is the foundation of TV. There's no risk of an advertiser promoting their message in an unsafe environment. Major brands and agencies have known for a long time that TV is the primary media platform to drive brand awareness. And this new information provides an additional layer of trust with newer brands who may have launched only with search and social campaigns and are ready to start marketing across the full funnel, driving greater brand awareness, consideration, and purchase intent. Now, how are we using data for smarter targeting? The insights from Comcast data enable us to find and target each advertiser's audience in a meaningful way. We can use sophisticated algorithms to build campaigns that follow the audience wherever, whenever, and however they're watching TV. Today, an advertiser can choose from over 100 audience segments to plan and deliver a multi-screen campaign across linear and streaming TV. It can run in a geographic area as small as a few zip codes to as large as our full footprint across 66 markets. And advertisers now have a choice to work with a high-touch account executive or to plan their campaign directly using our Ad Planner self-service portal. After a campaign is complete, ad exposure data gives clients transparent campaign performance metrics across platforms, providing insights for future campaign optimization.
Lisa, while you take this little break, Many people think that running TV commercials is quite expensive. Is this really the case?
You know, that's so interesting. I just mentioned our ad planner, and our ad planner self-service portal was designed specifically for small and medium business owners to be able to plan their own campaign, because we know that so many business owners currently plan a lot of their media using self-service portals across social, across LinkedIn, and certainly across search channels. And we realize that sometimes they don't necessarily want to work with a high-touch account executive. And what we also know is that you do not need a lot of money to run a campaign, especially if you're a small business focusing on an area, you know, ideally within 10-mile radius of your business. That's really the sweet spot for people coming to businesses. And the way that our ad planner portal is set up, for as little as $400, an advertiser can run a 2-week linear campaign, add on another $100 to run that campaign across all screens. And it's really, really efficient and effective. So it's not the cost of a Super Bowl ad. It's not even the cost of running an ad nationally. The cost of actually running TV is very, very efficient. And what's great is that the way that we deliver the campaigns, we show results for delivery of your message to the audiences that have been identified as the target you want to reach, but you're also getting incremental reach for that brand awareness level that we just talked about. It's so important to do that. You're getting the brand awareness level plus that consideration set. So it is certainly not a very expensive media tactic, and it's one that we really encourage you to explore. If you haven't visited Ad Planner, go to effectiveadplanner.com and play around. You can test it out and see for yourself what sort of campaign you can generate for $400, $500, and certainly up to as much as you want to spend on there. So thank you for asking that question.
Thanks for clarifying this.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about how we're enabling efficiency. Today, as we just talked about, every dollar counts more than ever, and it's important to maximize the potential ROI for every investment. Our halo effect study also shows that when a customer adds a TV component to a digital campaign, it resulted in 3 times more visual attention, twice the brand recall, and a 15% lift in purchase intent. By minimizing waste and focusing on delivering messages to a customer's in-market audience, we're providing a cost-effective service that shows that we have the client's best interest in mind. So, what are some ideas that we can take with us after this short time we're spending together? Well, first of all, keep looking for new ways to learn. When you think you know it all, you know you're just hitting the tip of the iceberg. Maintain your connections with your clients and with new potential opportunities. Network here too. Keep building those new connections. Expect the unexpected. If our current situation hasn't changed your mindset on this, nothing will. And don't forget how every interaction counts. You never know the impact you have on someone or that someone may have on you. I know that many of you joining today are students, and I'm so glad you're here. I hope you've gained some perspective on our industry and are excited to move forward in your careers as marketers. For those of you who may be in between jobs at the moment, I encourage you to visit effective.com and click on careers to see if any openings interest you. There are new ones added all the time. So I'd like to end this portion by sharing a video on one of the most important initiatives that our company has ever undertaken. As part of Comcast's recent commitment of $100 million to help combat racial injustice, Effectv and Comcast Business have collaborated on a multi-year initiative to provide media and technology resources for thousands of small businesses. The intent is to help Black, Hispanic, Indigenous, and people of color-owned businesses at a time they need our support the most. The first group of participants was announced last November when over 700 businesses received a range of advertising, marketing, and tech services to help empower them to succeed during this turbulent time. 1,200 more recipients are going to be announced next week, and the third round of opportunity is currently open for applications. Please take a look.
Are largely in COVID. Small businesses have been almost twice as likely to shutter.
Disproportionately so.
More than half of Black business owners
struggling to obtain federal paycheck protection from
COVID-19 on African Americans.
You know, somehow we always find a way to rise.
To the blueprint builders, to the backbones of every block, to the late night legends and the pioneers of legacy, for the curators of the culture, for the family franchise, and for generations to follow. You might fall, but never fail. Keep rising. Keep rising. Keep rising. Apply today for a variety of business, marketing, and tech makeovers on us to help your rise.
So thank you all so much. My LinkedIn is here. Please feel free to connect with me. I do post fairly often, so beware, but hopefully the information that I post is valuable and relevant to you. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and join in the Q&A.
We actually just got one question.
Perfect.
If you've ever felt like marketing wasn't part of your life long term.
I can reword it if you would like.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it. I'm so happy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the presentation. My question comes from a college student like me who is, a senior in my degree and doing a bachelor's in marketing. But sometimes I do feel like, wow, I don't know if this is what I want to do in the long term. So I was wondering if you've ever felt that way and how you overcame those situations.
Oh, great question. Okay, so when I was a senior in college, I was a French major and I thought I was going to become a high school French teacher. So I never imagined that marketing was even going to be a part of my career. The way I wound up in it after I spent 18 months working at Euro Disney, most of the time dancing around in a chipmunk suit and selling souvenirs, I wound up coming back to New York and I used the only skill I had, which was speaking fluent French, to apply for jobs. Now, this was so long ago, it was in the days of the New York Times classified section. So there was no LinkedIn, there was no internet to speak of. And I wound up getting a job as the assistant to the advertising director at a French fashion company. I knew nothing about advertising, nothing about marketing, nothing really about high fashion. I just knew that I could speak French. And that really led me down a career path that I never thought I would explore. So my advice to you and my advice to everyone on this call who is looking to explore careers, don't limit yourself to your major. Don't feel that if you start in marketing, you're going to wind up in marketing 25 years from now. The exciting thing about the world today is that any knowledge that you learn can be applied to pretty much any job in any industry. It's really all about understanding people, knowing how to relate and react, understanding how to get your message across, being able to think both big picture as well as at a detailed level, being passionate about something. And you might not know you're passionate about something until you try it, like me. I never knew I was going to be passionate about marketing, but now I can't imagine myself doing something else. But who knows, 5 years from now, I might be running a bed and breakfast in Alaska, which is actually a legitimate possibility. So never say never is my advice to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm definitely going to check out Effectv.com to see if there's any maybe careers that I can be at an internet. Thank you.
Absolutely. Sure. I see more questions have come through.
Yes, we have a very interesting question from Karen. Would you like to share it? Otherwise, I can just read it. But
Yeah, sure. Hi, Lisa. It's me again.
Hi.
Lisa, is Comcast doing anything in the way of within sort of the addressable space, attention metrics, trying to understand or gauge the attention of viewers during commercials, on a household basis who are actually in the room? Anything? I know there's some, other companies who are, have some new technology attempting to measure that.
Yeah, great question. And certainly when it comes down to individuals and people in the room, there are very, very strict privacy concerns where we do not resort to any level of creepiness factor. So I just want to make that really clear. But the way that we have started to tap into that from an attribution standpoint is we work with a really, really great vendor who has set up a custom opportunity for us to be able to measure the impact of a linear TV spot and the web traffic driven to that website within a half an hour of people who were in homes where that ad ran. So we're able to see the lift in web traffic in a very specific way. And then we're also able to follow up and show, did that person come back to the website? We're able to measure KPIs based on what that advertiser's needs are to be able to say, offline viewing is correlating, and we need to be careful. We can't say it's definitively driving, but it's a very, very strong correlation with online action. So we found this to be really valuable because what we're also able to do is use that information to optimize TV schedules for our advertisers. For those who only want to run in prime time and only want to run on top genre, top programming, what we're able to show them is when we optimize their schedule across many, many networks and across many, many day parts, their impact on their web traffic is actually much greater. So again, it's all about reaching the audiences, and it's all through premium content because it's TV. So it doesn't matter what time they're watching, what day of the week they're watching, what device they're watching on, but we are able to capture a lot of that information. So great question.
Thank you.
We have another question from Gabriela. Which would you suggest to be the first steps to launch a successful multi-screen campaign? And what to consider to ensure it is relevant and with a positive ROI?
Oh, that's great. I think what you need to do first is be really clear in knowing what your outcome is meant to be. What is your goal for the campaign? Are you looking to drive website traffic? Are you looking to bring people in store? Are you looking to get people to watch a certain TV show or go to a certain event? Once you know that, then you want to make sure that your creative has that message incorporated into it so that you're not telling one message but expecting a different result. You really want to make sure that it works. The next thing you want to do is really know your audience. And as a customer or as a client, you're going to know your audience better than we will, but we can help you figure that out. Perfect example, we recently had a client who used our self-service portal. It was a small sandwich shop in a college town. And because there was nobody helping this person to build their campaign, they created the campaign with the audience target of somebody interested in music, live events, and culture. Well, that wasn't necessarily the smartest. You know, if you think about it, we've got, it's a college town. So is it better to target college students, which is an opportunity where you're going to be reaching more people? Is it better to target, interested in quick service restaurants? The real challenge is you don't want to be so narrow in the audience that you choose that you lose the bigger audience who you actually want to draw in. So once you know who your audience is, then it's a matter of working with a vendor or working with a media company who can provide that multi-screen campaign at whatever your budget may be. And again, it could be $500 for 2 weeks, or it could be millions of dollars for a year. Anywhere in between, if you have a really clear business outcome, you've got strong creative, you might have multiple creative. We can do creative versioning for you too. As long as you have those foundations, then you've got the pieces that you need in order to create a successful multi-screen campaign. Great question.
Fantastic. Well, if there are no additional questions, thank you very much, Lisa, for sharing these very interesting insights and new ways to build lasting client relationships. And I would like to thank you all for attending this event. I hope you have learned some strategies to maintain your client relationships in this new advertising environment. We will be sending tomorrow a thank you email with a survey, so please share your feedback so we can keep improving our events. And also don't forget to register for our next webinar, leveraging your skills to marketing a startup. Thank you all very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Esther, for hosting, and thanks everyone for attending.